In the small and forgotten town of Hawthorne, nestled between hills shrouded in perpetual mist, there stands a mansion condemned by time and fear, a place the locals call, with a trembling whisper, the House of the Mirror That Never Reflects. Built at the turn of the 20th century by Victor Larkwood, an eccentric and reclusive merchant who'd made his fortune trading European antiquities, the house was a veritable labyrinth of mirrors imported from every corner of the world. Each room reflected his morbid obsession. It did. Venetian mirrors adorned the drawing room walls. French Baroque mirrors dominated the corridors. Oriental mirrors, with frames of jade and ivory, guarded the bedchambers. Larkwood weren't just a collector, mind you. He was a proper student of the occult. In his journal, found decades later by some brave investigator, he described his belief that mirrors were portals between dimensions, windows into what he called the inverted world. He reckoned mirrors could capture the essence of people, imprisoning them in their reflection forever. And what's more disturbing still, he deliberately sought to create that imprisonment. He did. After his abrupt death in 1932, under circumstances never properly explained, no one dared cross the threshold of that house again. Larkwood's body was found in the main hall, stood before a massive mirror that occupied the entire north wall. His eyes were open, fixed on his own reflection, and his expression was one of absolute terror, but also of triumph-like. The coroner at the time, Dr. Edmund Holloway, recorded in his official report, cause of death, undetermined. The body presents no signs of violence, poisoning, or disease. The heart simply stopped, as if the life had been drained right out of him. But there was something Dr. Holloway didn't include in his official report, something he confessed only on his deathbed 50 years later, didn't he? When they found Larkwood, there was a second shadow on the floor. A shadow that didn't belong to any object or person present in the room. And that shadow, right, it was moving. The rumors started straight away. The few who ventured inside the mansion in the following weeks came out terrified, claiming the mirrors didn't reflect their images. Instead, they showed glimpses of distant eras, lavish parties, and pale figures dancing beneath dusty chandeliers. Gramophone music echoed from nowhere. The smell of antique perfumes and expensive cigars permeated the air. It did. But the most disturbing bit were the motionless figures inside the mirrors. Empty faces that stared at anyone who dared look for too long. Margaret Sullivan, a young schoolteacher who entered the house in 1945 to retrieve property documents at the council's request, described her experience in a letter she never sent. "I can't sleep, can I? Not since that day. I went into the library looking for the property records. The mirrors on the walls were watching me. I swear on my life they were watching me. When I passed by an oval mirror, my reflection didn't move with me. Stopped. It did. Stayed there, staring at me whilst I carried on walking. When I looked back, my reflection, she smiled. But I weren't smiling. I legged it out of that house and never went back. But sometimes when I look in any mirror, I still see her there. Waiting. She is." Margaret Sullivan spent the rest of her days avoiding mirrors, didn't she? She covered all of them in her house with dark cloths and refused to enter public lavatories. Died in 1963, only 41 years old. Official cause was heart attack. But her sister swore that at the funeral, when she looked at the coffin, Margaret's face was turned to the side, eyes open, fixed on a small reflective surface on the side of the casket, as if she was still seeing something terrible like. The most spine-chilling story occurred in 1978, when a group of 5 teenagers decided to test their courage on Halloween night, didn't they? Danny Morrison, the leader of the group, was dead set on proving the rumors were just small-town superstition, wasn't he? He brought cameras, torches, and even an audio recorder. With him were Sarah Chen, his girlfriend, Michael Torres, his best mate, Jennifer Blackwood, the skeptic of the group, and young Tommy Sullivan, Margaret's nephew, who never knew about his aunt's unsent letter. At 11:47 p.m., according to Danny's camera timestamp, they entered the house. The main hall was exactly as described in the accounts. Mirrors everywhere, reflecting their torchlight in nauseating kaleidoscopic patterns. The air was still, without a single grain of dust floating, as if time had frozen within those walls it had. It was Michael who first noticed, weren't it? "My reflection. It's lagging in it." The others looked and saw. Their reflections moved a fraction of a second after them, like they were on a live broadcast with delay. Sarah laughed nervously, trying to rationalize. "It's just the dodgy lighting in it." But then Tommy screamed, didn't he? They swear they saw a tall man, dressed in an antiquated tailcoat and a wide-brimmed hat, standing before the largest mirror in the main hall. His gaze was empty. There were no pupils, just a milky white where his eyes should have been. He didn't breathe, didn't blink, simply existed there on the other side of the glass like. When Danny tried to touch the mirror, he realized the man existed only inside the glass. There was nobody behind them, nothing that could create that image. And then the man smiled, a slow and completely wrong smile with too many teeth, teeth that weren't human-like. The hall turned freezing instantly, didn't it? Their breaths formed clouds of vapor. The mirrors began to vibrate as if they were alive, producing a low resonant sound that made their bones ache. And then all the reflections in the mirrors changed. They did. They no longer showed the hall. They showed a party from 1932. Men in dinner jackets and women in silk dresses danced beneath lit chandeliers. Champagne bubbled in glasses. A gramophone played an old waltz, and in the center of it all, Victor Larkwood was alive, smiling at them across the decades he was. Sarah started screaming. Jennifer pulled her towards the door, but Tommy was paralyzed, staring fixedly at one of the smaller mirrors. Danny grabbed him by the arm, but the lad pointed, trembling. "She's there. Auntie Margaret's there, she is." And she was, weren't she? Margaret Sullivan, young again, trapped amongst the ghost party guests, silently beating on the glass, her mouth forming a single word. "Run." Terrified, the youngsters fled. But Danny looked back, a mistake that would haunt him forever. It would. In the main mirror, he saw his own face reflected beside the tail-coated stranger, but aged by 50 years, eyes sunken in silent horror, skin pale and stretched over the bones. And that version of him was smiling. The same wrong smile. The smile of someone who was already on the other side, like. Of the 5 teenagers who entered that night, none came out unscathed, did they? Tommy Sullivan developed a pathological phobia of reflective surfaces, didn't he? He ripped out all the mirrors from his house, avoided wet pavements, never looked at switched-off mobile screens. In 1995, age 34, he vanished. His house was found empty, except for one thing. All the mirrors he'd removed over the years were back on the walls, weren't they? And on each one of them, written in the dust, it said, "Come home." Michael Torres became a paranormal investigator, obsessed with understanding what they'd seen. He returned to the house dozens of times, documenting everything. His last words, recorded in his journal 3 days before his own disappearance in 2003, were, "I've discovered the truth, haven't I? The mirrors don't capture reflections. They capture choices. Each reflection is a version of us that made a different decision at some point. And Larkwood discovered how to open the doors between these versions. I'm going in again tomorrow. I'm gonna bring Tommy back. I'm gonna bring them all back." He was never seen again, was he? Sarah Chen moved to Seattle and never returned to Hawthorne. But she admits in rare interviews that she still has nightmares, doesn't she? "I see her," she whispers. "My other me, the one who got trapped. She's aging inside the mirror in it, and she's proper angry at me for escaping." Jennifer Blackwood, the skeptic, had the most ironic fate, didn't she? She spent years trying to debunk the house, prove everything had rational explanations. In 2012, she published a book, The Mirror and the Lie, Demystifying Hawthorne. 3 weeks after launch, she entered the house one last time to film a documentary debunking the myths. The camera was found still recording, weren't it? Shows Jennifer walking confidently through the corridors, mocking the tricks and illusions. And then she stops before a mirror, frowns. "This ain't right," she murmurs. Her reflection is doing something different. It's taking something from its pocket, a knife. The real Jennifer doesn't have a knife, but the reflection does, innit? The video shows Jennifer screaming, beating on the mirror, whilst her reflection advances with the blade. And then the video cuts. When the camera starts working again, 3 hours later, Jennifer Blackwood is sat on the floor in a catatonic state, murmuring repeatedly, "She cut me on the inside, like, she cut me on the inside." She's been institutionalized ever since, hasn't she? Paranormal investigators visited the house numerous times over the decades, didn't they? Their equipment recorded whispering voices, murmuring words in a language that linguists identified as a mixture of archaic Latin and something older, something that shouldn't be possible to be spoken by human throats like. In 1989, the New England Paranormal Society installed EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recorders, in every room. In one night, they captured 247 different voices, they did, all saying the same thing. "We're not reflections, are we? We're the originals. You lot are the prisoners." Dr. Elizabeth Vance, a parapsychologist from the University of Boston, led a 3-day expedition in 1998. She did. She installed temperature sensors, electromagnetic field detectors, and night vision cameras in each room. What she discovered made her abandon her career. It did. On the second day, she explained in her last interview before retiring prematurely, "We realized the temperature inside the mirrors was different from the temperature of the air around them, didn't we? 12 degrees colder, consistently, in all the mirrors, as if there was literally a different space on the other side, like." But the worst bit was on the third day. We installed a camera pointing at a mirror and another camera filming the actual room. When we compared the recordings afterwards, the room in the mirror was inhabited, weren't it? People walking, living, existing in a space that should have been empty. And one of them looked directly at the camera. She did. Directly, and waved. Dr. Vance's team noticed something else. The mirrors were multiplying, weren't they? When Lockwood died in 1932, the house had 89 documented mirrors. In the 1945 inventory, there were 103. In 1978, Danny's group counted 134. In 1998, Dr. Vance's team recorded 211 mirrors. Where were the new mirrors coming from then? Who was installing them? One team member suggested a disturbing theory, didn't he? What if they're not new mirrors? What if the mirrors are reproducing like? But perhaps the strangest thing of all is the impeccable state of the mirrors. Clean, polished, untouched by time, as if someone or something still looked after them in it. In 2008, a council caretaker called Robert Hayes was sent to inspect the structural integrity of the house before a possible demolition, wasn't he? He entered at 2 p.m. with cleaning equipment, expecting to find decades of dirt and deterioration. What he found left him speechless, it did. Each mirror was perfectly clean, weren't they? No dust, no cobwebs. The wooden floor around them was covered in decades of grime, but the surfaces of the mirrors gleamed as if they'd been polished that morning they had. Robert, pragmatic and skeptical, decided to do a test, didn't he? He grabbed a red wax pencil and wrote on the nearest mirror, "Robert was here, 1503-2008. Then he photographed it with his digital camera and left the house. The next day, he came back. The writing had vanished, hadn't it? The mirror was impeccable again, but there was something new. Engraved on the surface, as if from inside the glass, was a message in elegant, antique calligraphy. We were here too, weren't we? And we never left. Robert Hayes never went back, did he? He submitted his report recommending the house be left alone, without explaining why. But he kept the photograph. He did. It clearly shows his writing on the mirror. And just below it, visible only in the photo but not when he was there, there's a hand, a pale and translucent hand, pressed against the glass from the other side, with fingers too long, with nails that look like talons, they do. Amongst Victor Larkwood's belongings, found in his secret study, discovered only in 2015 behind a false panel, weren't it, was a manuscript entitled The True Nature of Reflection, a study on the multiplicity of being. In it, Larkwood described his theory. He did. Each decision we make creates a bifurcation in reality, doesn't it? The version of us that chose the left path continues in one world. The version that chose the right in another. Mirrors, when properly prepared through specific rituals, can serve as windows between these parallel realities. They can. But I've discovered something deeper, haven't I? The versions of us we didn't choose, the discarded selves, they don't disappear. They remain, imprisoned in an intermediate space, watching the lives they could have had. And they yearn. Oh, how they yearn to return, they do. My mirrors aren't mere windows, are they? They're portals, and soon I shall open them all. The last entry in the journal is dated 15th of October 1932, 2 days before his death. It's done, innit? The ritual is complete. Tonight, during the grand party, I shall open the portals. I'll bring them all back. All the versions, all the choices, and we shall become infinite. We shall become gods of our own possibilities. We shall. There's no record of a party having occurred that night, is there? Victor Larkwood was found dead the following morning. But the mirrors still show the party, don't they? Still today. Today, the House of the Mirror is a landmark of terror and mystery in it. The town of Hawthorne prospered by turning it into a tourist attraction from a distance like. Guided tours stop outside. Photos are taken from the gate, but nobody goes in, do they? Officially like. In 2019, 3 university students vanished after posting on Instagram that they were going to finally discover the truth about the house, didn't they? Their phones were found at the entrance, still recording. The videos show them entering, joking, laughing. And then simultaneously, all 3 stop. Look at different mirrors. Their expressions change from joy to confusion, then to absolute horror. They do. Is that me? One of them whispers. But I'm here, innit? How can I be there as well? The camera captures his reflection, and the reflection isn't alone, is it? There are dozens of versions of him, all slightly different, all moving independently, all looking back. One is crying, another is laughing, a third is screaming silently, and one, at the back, is just watching, with completely black eyes like. The video ends with the 3 running in different directions. Their screams echo and then silence. They were never found, were they? But 6 months later, a family passing by the house at night took a photograph. When they zoomed in on the image, there, in the second-floor windows, 3 faces were pressed against the glass. The faces of the missing students, weren't they? They say those who dare remain there for too long start hearing their own names being called from the other side of the glass, don't they? Not with strangers' voices, but with their own voices, calling, pleading, accusing. In 2022, an investigative journalist called Amanda Pierce obtained special permission to enter the house with a film crew, didn't she? She'd studied all the accounts, all the theories. She was prepared, she was, or so she thought like. 3 hours inside the house, she was alone. Her crew had legged it after the equipment started malfunctioning, cameras capturing things that weren't there, microphones recording conversations nobody was having. Amanda stayed, didn't she? She had to prove to herself it was real. In the main hall, she stopped before the mirror where it all began, Larkwood's mirror. And she saw her, didn't she? Not Larkwood, herself, but not her reflection, like. It was another Amanda, older, grey hair, scars on her face, wearing clothes she didn't recognize, and this other Amanda was speaking, though no sound crossed the glass, did it? But Amanda could read her lips, couldn't she? Don't make my mistake in it. Don't stay. They want you here. They need more. They always need more. They do. Amanda ran out, didn't she? But before crossing the door, she looked back one last time. All the mirrors in the house now reflected the same thing. Herself, in hundreds of different versions, all trapped, all looking at her with envy, with anger, with desperation they were, and all pointing in one direction, the cellar. Nobody's ever officially documented what's in the cellar of the House of the Mirror, have they? All the original architectural plans show only foundation, restricted access. But there are rumors, aren't there? A construction worker who helped erect the house in 1901, shortly before dying in 1953, aged 91, made a confession in his will, didn't he? Larkwood made us dig deeper than any cellar should go, he did. 6 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters below ground, and down there he installed something that shouldn't exist, like a mirror, but not an ordinary mirror. A mirror that reflected everything, all possibilities, all worlds. Looking at it was seeing your life branching in infinite directions. It was beautiful, it was, and terrible. And I could never forget what I saw down there, could I? Never could forget all the versions of me I left behind. Some reckon the mansion guards fragments of the souls that once lived there. Others, though, whisper something worse, that the mirrors imprison those who enter, and that at some point the reflection might simply refuse to let them out in it. But there's a third theory, one that few dare vocalize, isn't there? What if we're all already trapped, like? What if the House of the Mirror is just the place where the walls between worlds are thin enough for us to perceive the truth? What if each one of us at this very moment is just a reflection of someone who made a different decision somewhere else? What if looking in a mirror isn't seeing yourself, but rather seeing the prison you've always been in it? So, if one day you come across an abandoned house full of antique mirrors, think twice before crossing the threshold, won't you? Not every reflection is just an image, is it? Sometimes it's looking back, sometimes it's waiting for you, and sometimes it's already decided it's your turn to stay on the other side, innit? The House of the Mirror that never reflects still stands in Hawthorne, doesn't it? Its doors aren't locked. Its mirrors remain clean, and if you listen carefully on foggy nights, you can hear music, an old waltz, a party that never ended, like, and voices, so many voices, calling, whispering, inviting. They say the house has 201 mirrors, don't they? But the last unofficial census, done by a drone in 2023, suggests there are now 347. The house is growing in it, and it's waiting, always waiting it is, because each person who enters adds a new mirror, a new portal, a new possibility. And Victor Larkwood, wherever he truly is, must be smiling, mustn't he? That slow and wrong smile, the smile of someone who knows that eventually there'll be enough mirrors, won't there? And then, finally, all the worlds will merge, and there'll be no more difference between the real and the reflected, will there? Between the prisoner and the free, between you and that which watches you when you look in the mirror late at night, when you're alone, when the lights dim, and for just 1 second, just 1 second, you swear you saw something move that weren't you. It weren't you, was it? It never was you. Mirrors don't lie, do they? They just show truths we weren't ready to see, like. From the Journal of Victor Larkwood, last entry.